What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Conversation, a Crosspoint City Young Adults podcast created to help young adults know and follow Jesus. My name's Darian.
Hey, Darian.
She changes it up. What up?
I tried to keep it a little spicy.
I like it. Hey, welcome to The Conversation, y'all. We are excited to talk about overcoming the challenges of singleness. It's kind of like a rehash of what we talked about last time with the cultural shifts, but we're just going to get into it, all right? So the first question is, what are the biggest challenges you face in your singleness? So this is kind of personal. When you guys were single, what are the biggest challenges that you faced when you were single?
Is this like towards challenges with like finding the right person or self?
Both. I mean, let's just talk about it. Like, what were, like, when you were single, for you, what were the biggest challenges?
Well, Christian Darian will answer this.
Okay,
compared
Christian
to
Darian. Okay,
BC
I didn't
Darian.
know there was another Darian. I guess.
Well, I just think as a Christian, there's different challenges compared to a non-Christian. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways.
well, we have both listening, so before.
Okay, so BC Darian,
Yeah.
as before Christ, for those of you who don't know. The biggest challenge for BC Darian,
Yeah.
I would say, is I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I would say
I'm excited.
getting bored with who I was like dating.
That was
Okay.
a challenge. Okay. You were just getting bored of people? That was before Christ?
Yeah,
Now
BC
you're not.
Darian.
Now you're not bored with people.
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Now, Jesus loving Darian and Jesus following Darian, I would say biggest challenge is finding a godly man. And I don't mean like somebody who's like, oh yeah, I'm a Christian. I mean a godly man.
A follower
who
of Jesus.
Walks it and talks, not toxic. Talks.
Oh, none
it.
of that.
Yeah. Who walks the walk and talks the talk.
Yeah, I think that's a better way of saying it.
Both. Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
I could see that. Men, step up. I mean, we're just not being who God wants us to be. And
I mean, women are
women too.
in the same boat of not doing what they need to do. So
Yeah, for sure. It takes two to follow Jesus together, you know, not just one or the other. Everybody's looking for a godly person, but they don't want to be a godly person. So
Yeah.
you gotta wake up. What about you, Ansley? What are the...
I think a big challenge for people is just being miserable in your singleness. And so thinking, if I could just get there, if I could just be in that relationship, all my answers would be, I'd have all the answers to life.
Yeah.
Rather than finding joy in where God has you today and being okay with just Him.
Yeah.
With Him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like we are looking at dating and marriage as like this thing that we just need to be happy
Like
with,
it's the
you know?
answer to all of life.
Yeah,
my
but
question
it's
is, when
not.
you get the marriage, what's next?
Yeah,
That's the thing.
Like you get the marriage and then what?
but you're always like, then it's the kids.
It's
And
kids
then-
or the house.
Then it's the house. Yeah, like there's always something if that's your mindset, you know? Like
Yeah.
that next thing is going to get me whatever I want. It's going to make me happy. It's going to fill me with joy and all that. And I love the fact that in the Colossians series that we're in at church, James talked about Jesus is the only person that can complete you.
Yeah.
Like when we start thinking that this other person is going to complete us, going to fill the void, like they're going to sadly disappoint us
They're gonna fail
every
us.
single time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I do believe that's a big challenge.
Yeah, if you can't find contentment in your singleness, you will not find contentment when you're married.
Yeah.
The Lord has to be enough today in this season.
No, that's good. Yeah, I would say that was one of my biggest challenges I faced in my singleness. I also would say, like, sometimes when I was single, confidence was one. Like, I didn't always have the most confidence to, like, go out and to talk to people. I believe, like, before Jesus, I was just kind of, like, really shy and whatnot. But then after I met Jesus, I was like, man, we can be confident in what we have. And then also just looking for the right person. I remember I went on, like, a dating app, and I went on a whole bunch of dates. And what I realized is I'm not just looking for anybody. I'm looking for a godly woman, you know? And it made me realize that just because you say you're Christian doesn't mean you're really Christian.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you really know Jesus or you read God's word or you pray. Like, I realized that after a couple dates, man, I was like, I want a girl who actually prays.
Yeah.
Not somebody who you got to remind to pray, but somebody who actually prays. I want a girl who reads God's word. And I prayed for her, and then I met my wife, and it was beautiful. Like Kara, she reads her Bible without anybody telling her. And she also prays for people, and she's like the sweetest heart. Like she even teaches me.
She does.
You know,
the sweetest heart.
one of our so she's led a small group a couple years ago, and I was like, I woke up. It was like probably like it was late on a Saturday morning, so it was probably like 8 or 9 or something like that. And I hear her talking downstairs. And I'm like, who is she talking to? Like, what in the world? And she was talking to God. She was praying for her girls in her group.
I love it.
By name, out loud. And I just remember, like, I had this, like, flashback that I prayed for a girl who prayed.
Yeah.
Like, you're about to marry her again when you saw that, weren't you?
Yeah, I was like, man, this is just awesome that when you wait and you trust God, He's going to give you the best ever, you know, like, and exactly what you were looking for. And so I just think one of the challenge was trusting God, you know, with that. Like some of us like want to hold our relationship so tight. Like we're like, God doesn't have the best interest, you know, best for me. So I need to go on my own and try to do these things. But when we just say, hey, God, I'm going to let you write the love story. I'm going to give you the pen and you can write my story. Then he does an amazing job at it. But we the more we get to know him, the more we can trust him in that. So.
Aren't you so glad you didn't settle?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but I was 28 I was like 26, 27 when I met Kara, and I didn't get married until I think we got engaged when I was 28, 29, and I got married when I was 30 because I'm 33 now. Yeah, so around 30-ish when I got married. And
it was in God's timing.
Yeah, I remember those years. I was like, man, I'm looking left and right. Everybody's getting married and everybody's dating.
Comparison.
Yeah, it kills. But then I just, there was a point, and I think, I think it was New Rules on Love, Sex, and Dating by a pastor, and he gave this challenge. And he said, how about you just not date for a year? Like, don't look for somebody to just work on you. And he had this line, like, be the person you're looking for is looking for. And I remember just taking that seriously.
That's so good.
And I took a break for a year. And it was just awesome because I really found out who I wanted to marry, the type of person. And then every girl that I dated or I went on a date with, if they weren't that person, then I didn't continue it. Like, I didn't waste more time in these relationships that I knew weren't going to go anywhere. She might have looked cute. She might have, like, had a couple of things, but she didn't have the essentials that I wanted. And I wanted somebody who knew Jesus, loved Jesus, and lived like Jesus.
Yeah.
You know? So, cool. Y'all want to add anything to that?
I have so many thoughts, but we can keep going.
So how does fear impact your view of relationships and singleness? Since we're talking about overcoming the challenges of singleness, how does fear play a factor into that? What do you guys think?
I think fear with insecurities. I think fear of getting hurt. I think fear of being vulnerable. I think there's a lot of
Let's
fears.
talk about fear of getting hurt because that's kind of come up a couple times. When you say that, what do you mean? Like, we have fear of getting hurt, so we're staying single.
I think fear of someone not cherishing you. Like, truly cherishing you and saying, hey, I see you. I see your mud. I love you. I'm sticking with you.
Yeah. Fear of getting hurt again. So if you've been in relationships where you've settled before and the enemy may have kept you in that place because he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. If you've been in that place where the Lord, maybe didn't want you to be because he knew you were going to get hurt, and now you're out of that place, you're like, I do not want to go through that again.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've all been in relationships that have hurt us, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is the negative part of being in a relationship. Like, in order for you to invest in somebody, you have to give part of your heart. So there's that vulnerability piece that comes with relationships. So I know that it could be like a fear, like I can't trust anybody with my heart. And that's why you trust Jesus with your heart
That's
first.
right.
Like, you can't have a relationship with anybody else until you have a relationship with the person who created you.
That's right.
But then I was just thinking about how can we encourage somebody who has been hurt before to just say, like, don't just trust anybody, but trust the person who trusts God. Like, how can you encourage that? Like, just try relationships out again. Like, it's totally fine,
I would say invite people in to help vet the people you're dating.
Community.
Because so I'm not a highly emotional person. I'm a highly logic person. So I'll see one thing. Yeah, shocker, I know. But it's funny because all my friends, I love y'all, but they cry at everything. I sneeze and like, that's so cute. But
she low-key emotional, y'all. She just playing, okay? She
Well,
be crying too.
Yeah, I do be crying sometimes. But anyways, all that's to say is I think what has helped me is inviting my friends in of like, hey, what do you think? Like, here are potential caution lights that I just want to process. And they'll be like, girl, you overthinking that? Or yeah, girl, that's not a caution light. That's a red light.
That's a red light.
Yeah. So, and listen to your friends, especially if you listen to your godly friends. Yeah. Godly friends. I'm glad yes. But I think inviting people
phenomenal advice.
Yeah.
In our dating talk that we're going to be doing. So this is a plug just to invite you guys to the Young Adult Gathering coming up next week on September 3rd. But we're going to be talking about dating. And the whole idea is I want to help Christians date well. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I'm going to be saying is that we need to date with counsel so that we can help discern two things: the person and also our feelings. Yeah. Because I think that we get so googly-eyed that we forget and we can't see clearly. And so we need people to help discern those feelings and also the person. Because sometimes the person that we think is amazing isn't amazing. Mm-hmm. And then we have to, I love that piece that you got to listen to the counsel that is given to you, you know? And so I remember one of my friends told me, just talk to people smarter than you. Mm-hmm. People who are ahead of you that can see the blind spots that you can't see. And so dating with counsel is such good advice. So
get a mentor.
Yeah, get a mentor who you'll listen to.
Get people who are going to be honest with you. Obviously, they don't need to beat you up with their words, but just people that are for you and going to be super honest. Be like, that wasn't a good choice, was it?
Yeah.
And just kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They're going to meet you with grace, but also with truth. Yeah. Like you need both, you know, and not just pats on the back and say, oh, you're going to be fine. No. Some people are going to pray with you, but also going to counsel you and correct you and all those things. So, yeah. All right. What role do pride and lust play in the decision for people staying single or staying in a relationship longer than they need to? So, what do you think? Pride and lust. I think pride will keep people single all the time. They think they're just too good. I see some people be like, I don't know if this is really prideful, Los, but I just don't think she's up to my, standard. I'm like, really? Okay. That's awful. And you know what? You don't need to date anybody right now because you're terrible.
Can I do a tension with that?
Yeah, you can.
I think standards are good.
I think standards are good, but when it's only on looks...
Oh, okay.
I think it's
yes.
That's mostly why. Like, the godliest person I like the guy's met. And because she doesn't, look the way he wants her to look, I was like, bro, you can at least get a date. Like, just find out more. Yeah. Her character might astonish you. Now, I'm not saying that looks, you don't need to go off of looks. Like, I feel like you need to be attracted to the person. But our pride that we're just thinking that we want these Instagram models, like, to be honest, like, that's fake. Even their photos are fake.
That's
like,
right.
Yeah.
No offense, if you're an Instagram model, I'm sorry. But I'm just telling you, like, if you think, like, a child of God can't even, like, get a date, like, just coffee with you. I love JP, Jonathan Pecluda. He says, find the godliest person you know and ask him out on a date.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like, let character be the thing that you're attracted to, you know, because that's going to be the thing that lasts.
Well, I agree. And as an emotional connection builds, your physical attraction will also build.
That's right.
So.
Yeah. But we're not knocking physical attraction. Like, I'm attracted to my wife. Like, you should be attracted to him. Yeah. It's not a bad thing.
Right.
But I'm saying if that's the only thing that you, put all the weight on, like, dude, looks are going to fade.
That's right. That's what I was about to say.
But character, man, that thing stays.
Yeah,
all right. So, what about you, Ansley? What do you think the role of, what role do pride and lust play in the decision for people being single and in relationships?
I mean, in our last episode, we talked about hookup culture, and so I don't know. Darian, do you have a good answer for this one?
I do. It's going to be like kind of a deep answer, though.
A deep one. Okay.
Yeah. So with the lust side of things, with people choosing to stay single, I think there is an emotional intimacy yearning there, but they're covering it by just engaging in physical intimacy with as many people as possible. So I think any way that they want this emotional connection, but they're afraid, so they just engage in physical activities to even get like a scratch of the surface of the emotional intimacy that they're craving.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I think also a lot of people, they say they want a godly relationship, and then when they're in one, they feel like something's wrong because they're not sinning. You know, like I've had a whole bunch of people be like, man, I just don't see us going, the distance. And I was like, why? And it's like, well, there's just not this connection. There's this chemistry that's just off. And I'm like, well, what's off? You guys talk all the time. Like, you hang out all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, well, and it gets down to it, they're just not as physical as they used to be in every other relationship. And so for me, like, I'm just like, man, like, just because you're staying pure, you can find other ways to connect. Like, physical doesn't have to be the way that you connect and become, whatever. So I just think that lust plays a big role because they say that they want to stay pure, but then when they get into these relationships, they really don't. They want to do things, get as close to the line as possible. And so I think that's keeping people single, because when they get into a relationship, they know what they want ultimately. Yeah. So,
and you talk about I think about people getting bored. I've seen things on social media where like psychologists are saying people struggle with getting in these relationships and having that bored feeling and thinking, is this the right relationship? Because they're so used to trauma and they're so used to crazy relationships that when it's normal and he's a nice guy, they're like, something's got to be wrong. But no, like,
this can't be real.
No, this is normal. This is how this is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a crazy day every single day.
No, that's good.
I'll also add with pride and lust, those are selfish attributes.
Yeah, they're not fruits of the Spirit.
They're not. And so I would say, if you're struggling with pride and lust, I'm going to say something really hard, you're probably pretty selfish. Like, you're probably
everybody struggles with pride and lust.
I'm talking in the sense of like to the point that you are single and it constantly keeps hurting people that you're dating. You probably need to grow in the opposites of those, which is humility and love.
Yeah.
And I would just challenge you to.
Yeah, no, that's a good word. So like, if that's been your roadblock, you probably need to work in the opposite direction.
Exactly.
Because those two things will destroy every relationship you're in.
Yeah.
Pride and lust, man, they will infect everything.
Yeah.
And so don't think that you're going to just have that in the back burner and just bring that into relationships, because it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt you, you know?
Yeah.
Man, that will hurt you. So that's crazy. All right.
You want to get as healed as you can before entering into a relationship.
Yeah, you just want to be as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
Because we talked about this 2 episodes ago, that marriage problems aren't really marriage problems. They're single people problems that go into a marriage. And so whatever you bring, whatever baggage, you're going to bring that into it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that all your baggage needs to be cleared up. I'm just saying that you need to be in a healthy spot so 2 healthy people can become 1 healthy person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So how can young adults combat these challenges to thrive in their singleness? I got an answer.
Go ahead.
I think. So I'd say the one way that we can combat these things is to work on a relationship with Jesus.
Amen.
Okay.
That's the answer.
If we could just do that, I feel like we've all kind of hinted at it when we were talking. When we got that right, it seemed to everything else in line just fell in line.
100%.
Not perfect, right? But it just worked out, and we had a different understanding. Like, we could consider, everything that we were going through joy. We could, there was just so many things that help us get a better perspective, because it's the renewing of our mind, that's being transformed when we're hanging out with Jesus. And I think if you want to combat all these things, if you want to fight lust and pride, focus on Jesus, and that's going to help you. What do you guys think?
He doesn't want perfection. He wants dependence. And so you don't have to get all these things perfectly right before entering into a relationship. But the more dependent we can become on the Lord and striving to look more and more like Him every single day, the more ready we'll be to enter into a relationship.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We can love people better when we love like Him.
Yeah. And this is just making me think of just like the story of David, how he's known as a man after God's own heart. But, he had an affair. He had all these wives and concubines. He murdered someone and just all these things. So I guess the distinction is it's not that you're sinful. It's the fact that you're intentional to try to get better and more like Jesus.
Yeah.
And so I guess that would be encouragement I would give is just, and I've heard James say this on the podcast before, like the struggle is a good thing. So if you feel this tension that or a challenge with just kind of world views versus Christian views, it's good that you feel that tension. And I would just encourage you to give yourself grace and just take it one day at a time. There's a reason Scripture says daily bread. It's not yearly bread. It's not monthly bread. It's daily.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's good. All right, so before we close, let's just talk about practical steps that we can embrace our time of singleness as a season for growth and also preparation. Because you just hinted it's going to help you and prepare you for the next relationship. But then you just said, hey, we need to grow in the Spirit and walk with the Spirit. So, what are some practical ways that we could do that? And let's just think about when we were in this season. So, what are some things that we did? So,
be honest about your struggles. Be honest.
That's good.
Yeah, invite people in about what your hurts and hangups are, and invite godly people into how can I heal from this?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times unhealthy relationships is because you're bringing unhealthy habits into it. So
yeah, that's good advice. Be honest. Mic drop. I like it. What about you, Angie? What do you think? What are some practical steps that we could do?
Well, we're going to talk about in the next episode, but just building healthy rhythms. Building healthy rhythms to spend time with the Lord is so important.
Yeah.
I would say the thing that keeps coming to my mind is this is about surrender. So the same way that we need to surrender every area of our lives to the Lordship of Jesus Christ, we need to surrender the season that we find ourselves in, which is singleness. So through prayer and just being honest with other people and being honest with the Lord, surrendering it to Him.
Yeah. No, I love that. Surrender, being honest. It sounds like you're being Christian. But no, I agree. The practical steps to just embracing this time, enjoy the season you're in and stop. You can want the next season, but when it becomes, you just become preoccupied with that. You just think that the next season is going to give you something that this season can't. I think that's troublesome. And so for me, I would say a practical step would be to just constantly talk to God about hey, God, what do you want me to do in this season?
Yeah.
In the next season will come. And if God gives you the gift of, dating somebody and marriage and all that good stuff, that's awesome. But this is a gift too. And so just trying to figure out how can you right now in this season you're in, enjoy it, thrive in it, and just partnering with God to allow you to do that. And I think, again, it goes with your mindset. Allow God to renew your mind. And the crazy thing is, I was reading a book yesterday, and he was talking about that every single person on earth has been gifted with the gift of singleness. There's not one person you would meet that did not get the gift. And so, then when you look at the person we're supposed to be like Jesus, right? Jesus was single his whole life. And so there's a way to thrive in your singleness. And then when you think of Paul, he says, follow me as I follow Christ. He was single too. And so I think when you think of your singleness, think of it as a gift and then ask God. If you can't get there, right? It says in James, if anybody lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously without reproach. Ask him, help me to see this time as a gift, and that to be a practical step, build your prayer life and ask God when you have this tension. But yeah, I think that's a good place, a little pin it, right?
Yeah.
We're good? All right. Hey, guys. Hey, we hope that this has encouraged you. We can't wait for the next episode where we're going to be talking about just building rhythms in your singleness, healthy rhythms. And this can be for singleness, dating, married. I mean, you can build good rhythms in your life at any season of your life. And so we just want to tell you that we're here for you. We love you, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.